So first of all, welcome everybody. It's so lovely to see you online in what is our final week at work, and I'm sure most of you as well. So we're certainly looking forward to a well-deserved break here, and I'm sure you are all as well. It's been quite the year, as you all know, very, very busy year, but I'm looking forward to the break. So this morning we have the fabulous Angus Jenkins with us. Now, for those of you that were at conference, would have got to meet our wallflower Angus. There's a lovely photo of him here from conference, from our dinner that we had at the Bowl of Brooklands recently. And there's Angus looking absolutely incredible in his Madonna gear, I believe it was. So yeah, absolutely delighted to have you with us, Angus, and thank you everyone for joining. So just as a little introduction to Angus Jenkins of Angus Jenkins Leadership, founder and chief slayer is how Angus describes himself. He coaches senior leaders and leadership teams that are really serious about stepping up. He runs a leadership program called the Building Blocks of Excellence, which offers one-on-one coaching, emotionally engages audiences, blending storytelling and learning to create lasting impact. Few organisations have the courage or commitment to do the work they have to really step up. And that's why Angus will only work with those that are really ready to get real. So we're ready to get real this morning, Angus, and you're going to share with us how we can all wind down, ready to wind up for next year. Thanks so much. Over to you.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you very much. But I'll just share my screen, team. And as I'm doing that, can I please, or can you please make sure that you have got a pen and paper at the ready, or your notebook, maybe your journal. You're going to be writing a bunch of stuff down. And if you are, I'm not going to be able to look at all your individual screens. In fact, many of your cameras are not even on. So if you are joining us from the bedroom and or from the kitchen table after a long night and or at the start of the week going, should I really be doing this? First and foremost, let me say thank you. Thank you for giving yourself the gift of taking a moment to yourself. It's been a busy old month and it's an intense old period at the time of the year. And what you're choosing to do, I applaud. So pen and paper at the ready. I'll just give a couple of moments for you to do that and or your journal. What I'd really love for you to do is turn your phones on silent or don't be distracted. Shut your emails down. This is going to be just about 45 minutes. So that gift, I promise you, you'll get a lot from it. And also, I just want to thank you for that lovely, kind intro, Nikki. I really appreciate it. I'm really proud to be part of now the association, and very privileged to be part of your Tuesday, coming to you live from my home here on the viaduct. For those that knows, my glasses go dark. It's because I've got a transition and I'm right beside the viaduct, and so the sun is coming through. I appreciate that saying that might. So for Georgina and those in the deep south or the south who are not getting so much sun, that might be a little bit confronting. But it's quite warm up here in Auckland and quite bright. So if you do see that, it's not because I've all of a sudden transitioned to disco glasses. It's just because it's a nice bright day. But look, thank you very much for joining it today. And what I just want to walk through is a couple of slides using some of the art and science of human performance, but give you a bunch of stuff that's meaningful, that's relevant, that's going to make an impact to you right now and through the course of not just the next few days and weeks, but actually set you up for success for 2025. So write as much as you need to. I will go at a nice pace. I think that's the gift I can give everybody. This is not going to be a hard, a fast-paced necessarily, but the impact will be there. So let's get into the gift of giving and go through from here. Excellent. Thank you, guys. So look, I want to start with a very important assumption here. For those that have learned about my background and so forth and or had conversations with me, this will hopefully ring true with the experience you've had with me. And that is, I've been in development for a very long time. And I absolutely believe to my core that everyone wants to be the best version of themselves at any point in time. Now, if you're sitting there going, you haven't seen that particular client that I'm working with, or the team member that I'm managing, and so on and so forth, And I just want you to hold space for a moment to go, look, at the end of the day, there is a choice about being the better version of yourself. I choose to believe that absolutely all the things that we bring to our roles, to our lives, however that might be, whether at work, pleasure, and everything in between, is that we can always make a difference to choose a different version of ourselves, to be a better version. And so today, I'm going to give you some hints and tips in order to help accomplish that. Because even though you might not be getting some of the results you want to, the choices around your performance, that is where the transformation sits. But at its core is to believe absolutely you're trying, and absolutely with more insight to help provide that insight will give you more capital to be able to move forward. Let me break that down into a key guiding principle. And there's three things here I just wanted to share with you. What today's going to help do is really focus on in all three of these things, through these foundational steps. Number one is developing your self relationship. And what I mean by that is there's two fantastic principles you would have heard of, but I want to be really explicit about how important it is to the way that I believe that I've designed all my content through the years. Number one is self-awareness, and the other is self-acceptance. And it's a really interesting way to think about the relationship you have with yourself. So specifically, the question I'll be asking you to think about today is how effectively has your awareness of who you are and how you've developed this year, and how effectively has there been an associated with development with your acceptance of now where you're at. And self-awareness and self-acceptance are really important principles to bear in mind that we're all continuing to grow. The learning mindset and how much you're choosing to bring into that. And these other two steps of my principles really bring that true. Number one is, or second point, I should say, is around achieving what you've done and appreciating a deeper understanding of your past performance. So shortly we'll be looking back going here. So when you think about 2024 and think about that past experience, what have you achieved? What did you set out? And how much are you willing to unlock some of what you've done and how you've done and tie it into who you are? And the third and final part is around recognizing, so this is where you're at, this is what you've done, but what are the ingredients that you can choose to set yourself up about how it can better serve you, in this case, for 2025. So if you want an idea of what Angus is, if you go through, put a slice through all the work that I've done through my career, that principle you see on slide now is exactly what brings it all together. Relationship with yourself, appreciating your past experience and your performance and your results to recognize what serves you moving forward. Now, this first session I want to do is to play to that first pillar of my guiding principle around learning about self. And for this, we're going to take a bit of a deep dive into what I would say is one of the most important aspects of self that often is spoken of, but not really understood. Because we talk about, are you ready to perform and are you ready to accomplish what you need to? And being prepared for all the things that you're asked to do, your to-do list and so forth. But what holds it together? What gives us the fuel to do what we do? And the secret of that is motivation. The understanding of motivation is critical, or the science of keeping going. Right now, you're sitting here going, oh, even hearing those words, you're probably letting out a bit of a sigh because we're all a bit tired, right? So I'm going to show you a model and give you some little examples of what you can scribble down and have some active reflections on this very call to better understand what makes you tick, what fuels your behavior. And I want to just caveat this by saying what you're about to see over the next 20 minutes and go through is not only really powerful to help you understand what gives you fuel, it's both a resource you can access at any time, and the stuff I can show you, you can talk to your work colleagues, you can talk to your family. This would be at the back of your mind, and maybe you want to verbalize this over the holiday break as well. But it's a choice. It's a choice, and therefore, being it a choice, you can work on it as indeed required. And indeed, that gives you the confidence to go, actually, I can go after this and refuel at any time. And right now, with our tanks pretty low, I speak on behalf of all of us to say this, that knowing this next 20 minutes going into holiday is going to really help with your self-awareness, but especially with that acceptance going, do you know what? I am tired. I am a bit buggered. And actually some of the ingredients will be inside the slides, which you'll read right now. So the first aspect behind this is around sense of control. So what I want you to do is write down on your page, control. And what is the, and this, by the way, this the model that I'm using here, the 3 C's, is based on self-determination theory. For anyone on the call that has studied psychotherapy or even just understood some basic philosophy, self-determination theory says that we as humans, we all have 3 innate needs. Yeah. So what you're about to see is we all have each of these. Each of them show up slightly differently at different points of time. The first one is around autonomy, or the level of choice that we have. Or as the wording on the slide suggests, how focused on your circle of control are you? Now, specifically, this is around recognizing when things feel a little bit overwhelming and you get a little bit bought into the whole busyness thing, or, oh gosh, I'm so stressed. I just want you to pause for a second. And if I was a little bit confronting, which I can do, and said to you that busyness is a choice, stress is a choice, joy is a choice as well. How are you going to choose? So why don't you write these couple of questions down for me, for yourself actually. Number 1, what aspects of your work do you have either complete, little, or no control of? And maybe put those 3 things beside each other. Let me repeat. What aspects of your work do you have either complete, little, or no control of? And as you're writing that down, maybe across the page of those 3 words, those 3 phrases, I just quickly want under each of those for you to write just maybe 2 or 3 things under each. So what aspects do you think of that you have complete control of? What 3 things come to your mind you have little control of? And indeed, finally, what 3 things at work that impact your performance and indeed your results do you have no control of? Now, if your pen starts writing more, fantastic, no problem with that at all. But I just want you to see the words you're writing here. And because we're on webinar, and because I'm treating you gently, this is a gift to yourself after all. We're going to keep this nice and reflective, right? So I'm not going to ask for anyone to share and so forth like that. But what I do want you to do is, as you're looking at those 3 things, and maybe you keep writing, maybe your little control of is going off the page, you're like, whoa, just as long as you got through at least 3, fantastic. What I now want you to do is, here's the next question. What do you currently do to give yourself a greater sense of choice or control? What do you currently do? So to start with this, look in that complete column. What I would assume you'd put in that complete column is like, okay, my one-to-ones, or how much time I'm spending with meetings. Maybe it's the little, who knows? Maybe it is actually, I have complete control of my choices in the morning with my morning routines and keeping myself fit. Maybe it could be complete control of my children. I don't know what that might be. Doesn't matter. But the point is, I want you to write down now, what do you currently do to give yourself a greater sense of control? Now, on that far column, on the things you have no control of, for example, could be the impact of your events. It could be your clients. It could be the decisions they take. It could be the experience of delegates. It could, whatever that might be, ask yourself the same question. And the add-on to this is, what are you doing to reduce your sense of control? Let me give you a practical example. One of the things, though, if we were face to face and we had more time, often will come out is let's talk about meetings. Meetings, I think it's something we can all share, right? And some people say, oh, I have no control of my diary. I always get so many meeting requests and my time is of essence and I have no time to do stuff. Okay, let's unpack that a little because I'm sure each of us on the call have put down meetings or time or diary, something of that ilk in there. Now, let's take a few home truths. You have full control over your time and of your diary. If that was slipping into the second and third column, that's a conversation in and of itself. What can you do to give yourself a greater sense of control? How many of you say no to meetings? If you're really honest, you think about your course of the year, how many times when a meeting request comes through, could be from a client, could be a new engagement, do you ask, what's the purpose of this meeting? Why am I there? What do you want me to do? Or am I just sitting there as a bystander because I've got a title of director and I just need to be there to emphasize it? So going back to those questions, reducing your sense of control could be just accepting any old meeting. Reducing your sense of control is just going along to a meeting because, well, someone's asked me to. Do you see where I'm going to here? So there'll be things in your world that you currently do around actually your perception of your conditions, your perception of what's your control is there. But what you currently do to give yourself or take away your sense of control, you can start to unpack just with that simple writing down the lists and asking yourself that question. Now, let's move into the development side, right? Let's move into that lovely self-awareness side. What could you do to enhance your sense of control? Let's bring this really relative and relevant to where we are, ladies and gentlemen, days and thems. This is the week before Christmas. Wouldn't it be an amazing gift of on this call as you're writing down things on your list around the things that you can give yourself choice? What could you do differently this week alone when you recognize maybe there's something in your I should say, your little or no control? My diary's out of control. People always need me. My family's always demanding. Customers always need this, whatever it might be. I'm not belittling. I'm just calling out the reality of what we all do. But if you just stop and pause for the next couple of moments and go, okay, let me challenge myself. What could I do to enhance your sense of control? Because guess what? It is your choice. The circle of control, circle of influence, what this speaks to, our autonomy is our choice. And whilst I don't try and ignore the fact that we'll have things that we believe we have no control of, a little of control, and it's like, how can I find that sense of in there? That might take time. And you know what? If after this call you want to go, can I borrow you for 5 minutes and have a call and just rant about the shit that's going on in my life? And cool, do it. I would encourage you to do so. But give yourself the gift of choice. That's number one. Happy so far? Excellent. Let's move into number two. Confidence. Confidence. Now, let me define this for you. Through the lens of human performance, confidence is defined as the belief you can successfully perform a task in a specific setting over and over. Let me rephrase that. Write this down. Confidence is the belief you can do something over and over and over in a specific setting. Those last three words are really important. When people say, that person's really, really confident, that can be kind of not useful. But if you say, hey, when I saw you on stage the other day, you were really confident. It was fantastic. At that conference, you did that. Or on the table, you facilitated that conference. Man, you showed confidence. And the person goes, my God, guess what? If I stood on stage right now, I would die. Or if I did that on a one-to-one basis. And so the setting is really important. So think about if you're a manager on the call right now, and you tell people, or maybe even your own children, I love your confidence. That's useful. Do an and. In this setting, I find it's amazing. I've seen you do that, and that I can see your confidence. And that makes it far more specific and far more relevant. So confidence is based in the belief of competence in your performance area. This ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, is the guardian angel of performance. Because right now, each and every one of us, there is something that's going on in our world that has seeped away our confidence a little. We are crawling towards the end of the year for some of us. And I'll guarantee you there's one thing I'm going to touch on right now and that you're going to uncover for yourself that you go, whoa. Now, there's a number of ways we can do this. And look at, and again, if we have some more time, I would go through it. Focusing on your strengths, preparing mentally, mental rehearsal, acting with confidence, the whole Superman pose and all that sort of stuff. There's focusing on tasks. There's a whole bunch of things. But to do this, let's do a nice little activity. I want you to draw a cup. On your page, draw a cup. This is your confidence cup. And at the top of the cup, I want you to draw a few arrows just going into it. And if your confidence cup was specifically the setting of you right now in your work, park personal life if you can, but just think of you and your job right now, however you define it. And if I said, what gives you confidence? And you drew some arrows going on top of it, what would you write? What gives you confidence in your job right now? And just write 3 or 4 things. So I'm going to just share a couple of things off the top of my mind. I assume some of your technical skills might be there. Might be your experience. It could be things like, you know, I'm a real giving person. Like people love me around this time of year because I feel touched. Whatever that might be. So whatever some things that fill up your confidence cup. Now, at the bottom of your cup, I want you to write a few arrows going out, almost like cracks in your cup. What are things that drain your confidence at work right now? What are those? What drains your confidence at work right now? And again, write 3 or 4 things. So that could be like, I'm getting another last minute request. I've still got a to-do list of 10 things. I'm still trying to manage doing year-end reviews or proposals for conferences in Q1, whatever that might be. But just write down what drains your confidence cup. So right now, you've got a cup in front of you, some arrows going in, what fills you, and then a couple of arrows at the bottom, what drains you. Just have a look at that for a moment. Does that surprise you? Let's turn the gas up, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit. I want you to do 3 more arrows into the top of the cup. And here's a different question. Who fills your confidence cup? Write those initials down. Who fills your confidence cup? And you know where this is going. 3 more arrows at the bottom. In the setting of work right now, who drains your confidence cup? Who drains your confidence cup? Just write the initials. If you're sitting in a room beside that person, then just give yourself a gentle nudge. Now, as you're looking at that, you're probably already making the connections I'm leading you towards. Confidence, the guardian angel of performance, is understanding your competence in a specific setting. And I've asked you to think about work, ideally in this week. You can do this at home with your family, with your friends, even your next year, and you think about, I've come back up from my break, revisit this, turn it back to this page and have a look, right? But staying present to help you wind down more effectively and happy and healthily, those people that you've written down as filling your cup, write an action point beside it. I'm going to call those buggers today and say thank you. Or spend some time with them. Lean into it. Say, hey, you know when that Angus fell to that thing, do you know I haven't told you for a while? You fill my cup. Thank you. For those that drain, different conversation. You don't need to have a conversation before Christmas, I would possibly argue. But what you might want to do is be tactical and go, actually, can I park those conversations on it? Or can I just, knowing that drains me, is it time to have a conversation? Yes or no, whatever. So there you go. There's the second tool, the confidence cup. And as the slide now reveals, the thing about confidence, it's your never-ending building project. That cup will continue to fill, continue to flow out. That's normal. But I just want you to remember the second part of our motivation around confidence and the capability and what we show is an ongoing thing. And if I just hark back to, for those that parents on the call, you might be nodding here going, oh yes, as your kids are finishing and you're seeing the results coming through and the reports coming through and how they're feeling and where their cup is at and listening to the conversation, just tease out both the what and the who. And finally, the final C is around connectedness. Oh, this is fabulous. So with this one here, this is around, we have an innate desire to be connected to people. This is one of the beautiful things about the recent conference. And again, thank you to BEIA and to all of you who helped create that. And I know that Lisa, you spoke of, and everyone spoke of this, is look at that when we get people in the room together and what that did. And it plays to this. That's why everyone's motivation was this off the scale when we left that Wednesday. But there's two aspects to this I want to tease out. This is connected to each other and connected to a purpose. So the conference purpose, use that as an example, was very clear. And therefore the speakers all were entwined in order to bring that to life. There's no different to this. But what I want you to do right now, and maybe you want to use the same three names from what you did in the previous page. That's totally fine. Just copy that down. But to assess where you're at, and you might want to do a little grid here, a little wee table, right? Put the initials along at the top. And I'm going to give you 3 criteria to assess, well, how do I know, Angus, if the connectedness to others is where it could be? And I'll give you these 3 criteria. Number 1 is shared purpose. Number 1 is shared purpose. Number 2, mutual trust and respect. Mutual trust and respect. But the third one, and this is the doozy. Can you challenge each other openly and frankly? And do you welcome it? Welcomed, challenge, openly is the third one. So, for this moment of reflection, you don't have to do all 6 people. Of course you don't. But certainly pick the one that, certainly one of the ones that go into your cup, confidence cup, and then definitely one that drains. And I just want you to use here's a nice way to look at it, gold, silver, bronze. Gold for strength, yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to guess when you go through those criteria, the person that fills your confidence cup, you do have a shared purpose together. Fantastic. Mutual trust and respect, yeah, gold, silver, bronze. And then do you welcome each other with challenge openly? Do you invite that around other people, or is it just one-to-one? And as you're hearing my voice and I'm asking these questions around, this is the person of a strong relationship you have, a connected relationship, just notice what you're writing. Now take a big gulp of breath. And yes, write down the initials. Could be one of the ones that drain your confidence. Doesn't have to be. Could be someone else who's important in your life. Go through those 3 criteria with me. Which of these is nowhere near gold? Maybe they're all bronze. Maybe they don't. Maybe they fail to make even the podium. Okay, so let's go through it. For that relationship which is important to you, but maybe you have a shared purpose. Maybe it's kind of there. Maybe you work together. So by default, there's a bit of purpose. Mutual trust and respect. Maybe you had it. Maybe initially, but something's happened. Maybe a disagreement and you've fallen out, or maybe you haven't made the effort, or maybe you've let that relationship wane, whatever. But the gold medal here is, do you have mutual trust and respect? And then third one, the kicker that always makes, there's a collective inhale of the breath. Maybe that reason why that person you're not so connected with is because you haven't welcomed challenge, or maybe you tried to challenge each other openly and didn't go so well, or whatever the case might be. I just want you to jot down, what are you going to do about it? I'm giving you the gift of understanding that this person is important to you, that makes an impact on your world, and yet there's work to be done. And again, to repeat what I said earlier in the previous exercise, I don't necessarily mean to wheel this conversation out before Christmas. Maybe you do, because it's actually that important. Maybe you think of someone outside of work, could be at home. But I want to give you the gift of going, you know what? I've given you a currency now, understanding about your motivation. And this is the third and final C. That if you accept the fact that this is an important person, but by your own assessment, you see it as bronze at best, then maybe that's the perfect way to wind up in the new year. Wouldn't it be awesome to go, and if it is the same person who drains your cup, to go, hey, do you know what? Can we have coffee before we just dive into the year next year? Can we meet up or have a conversation? ... Give yourself that gift. Give them the gift of recognizing that. Because as the words on the slide now reveal, connectedness is nothing about them. It's all about you. So well done. You've now gone through, understood the 3 C's. Now we've done that very reflectively, very hopefully meaningfully, so you can understand what that does for you. But I've just covered what elite athletes know incredibly well. When I run sessions, when I do keynote speaking, all that sort of stuff, very rarely I don't do this, and we do it in there's lots of other activities we can do, because I just want to repeat where this came from. The fuel that drives our behavior is motivation. Therefore, understanding it in any detail whatsoever helps not only fill the cup, but gives us greater understanding of self-awareness in order to accept who we are at where we're at. Does that make sense? So well done. Yay. That's the first big chunk of this exercise, is to appreciate that and to go, okay, there's some interesting insight here. And by the way, those little activities I've just done with you, I went through nice and slowly. You can wheel that out anytime. Before you sign off on, might be Friday or next Tuesday or might be this afternoon, whatever, just have a look at your notes. And maybe diarize, please do this. The very first thing you do on the day you come back, just pull this out and have a wee look and go, that's interesting. And think about your sense of control, your sense of confidence, and your sense of connectedness, because they will ring true for all of us. And to fuel your start to the year, I promise you've just written down some bloody nuggets. Bravo. So, I spoke of having that reflection and understanding past successes and how you've accomplished it. And this, again, keep this nice and light, nice and pragmatic and very meaningful. Often the way that I look at this is do things by 3s. A bit of science here. The unconscious brain loves a good 3, and we can focus on that. These are the questions I typically ask. And so if you want to take a screenshot of that, treat yourself, or just write it down. I'm going to speak to it because you're going to do this exercise right now. So as you review the year, a lovely question, without diving too much into the science or using too much HR speak, is what did you say you're going to do? And what did you do? Now, some of you might have goals, some of you might have business plans, some of you have just conversations at the back of the fag pack you wrote with your boss a couple of months ago, whatever, it doesn't matter. But what I'd love for you to do right now, ladies and gents, theys and thems, is on your page, under the title of 2024, just what are the 3 biggies? The 3 big results that you were going to do, that if we rewound 12 months ago or January or whatever, or if you're in the new roll through, it doesn't matter. But just what's the first 3 things that flow off your pen? Just what are they? And then just beside it, what did you do? What did you do? And you could have got tick, tick, could be gold medal. I did that because I nailed that, superb. And if you've got complete tick, 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 fantastic, then maybe the second question you can go straight into. How did you do it? How did you build your year? And how can be answered a number of different ways. But you might want to look back at that previous page you've just written on. That's a fabulous way to look at it. Because there's stuff you've written down in your confidence around your sense of control and connectedness will give you some hints. So a really lovely way to do this review, and maybe you want to do this over the course of this week as you wind down with the team. What did you say we're going to do? And you can make it a we, not just you. And what did you do? It's a lovely little balance. But please always ask the what, which are the results, the outcomes, and of course the how, which is the choices, the performance itself to get there. And my language here is very intentional. How did you build your year? Unashamedly positive frame of mind. And so as you're writing that down, that's a nice way to do your own reflections. And for those on the call that are quite comfortable with reflections, go, yeah, I've done this, fantastic. An outcome of this as you're doing it. And maybe for many of you who are at home by yourself or at the office by yourself, or indeed on separate screens by yourself, that's fine. Maybe afterwards is not only share these first two things, but do this third step together. Yeah? What are your reasons to be cheerful? One of the most beautiful ways I want you to look after this beautiful heart of yours, and going back to that principle, right? We're all trying to do our best, is recognizing, should have done some good stuff and how I did it. But to finish the year with reasons to be cheerful. As I'm seeing myself in the camera, I'm just saying to it, for God's sake, I'm cheerful because I love the fact I'm here to help be of service to you. You know, when I reached out to Nikki and to Lisa and said, let me help me be of service. You guys filled my cup at the conference. I want to help as best I can with you guys. Let's finish with a reason to go. And this is just an example of it, right? We're all doing this in our work. And so I would love for you to have this conversation, right? This is an action point. Go, bugger it. It's cool. I love all that. In the review, we'll talk about what we did, what we said we're going to do, how we did it. Woo-hoo. What are your reasons to be cheerful? Please do this. So again, as a team, best way to do it. So that's your review of the year. Let's fast forward and lift ourselves up. When you come back into the new year, you're going to dust off this page, this book again, or your notes you've written down. And 3 things to share. And I would encourage, again, I will talk through these in a second, but the context of this is what? Is about you as an individual first. First. For those that are traveling around New Zealand, you'll get this reminder very soon. When the captain does the please button up your seatbelts and they do the safety announcement, what is it always about? Oxygen on first. So yes, you say, oh, yeah, but I'm part of the team, I'm the boss. Yeah, cool, sweet, treat yourself. Lovely, but let's go back to first principles. I want you to be thinking about, what are you going to be aiming for? What is your target for next year? What is the attitude you've got around the outlook? What do I mean by that? You'll have things inside your business and outside your business that'll be both healthy and helpful and unhealthy and unhelpful. Let me replay that again. In your outlook, the conditions you're playing in, there'll be stuff inside your business and outside your business that'll be both helpful and unhelpful. So there's 4 interesting dimensions there. But at its core, when you've, and maybe this is a lovely exercise you can do with somebody else, as I always encourage, but when you start to jot that down, inside business, outside business, helpful, unhelpful, just start writing. At its core is what? What's your attitude towards it? Let me give an example. 2024 has not been kind on my business. I don't think anyone here can say it's been a joyous, but it's been an easy year. But I know that I've dug deep and I've continued to, as best I can, to repurpose my business, my new rebranding and so forth, to lay the foundations to constantly be there offering help because I know it's the right thing to do to send the message I'm here of service. I know that's the right thing to do. So my attitude is always to be of service, is to always grow my business, is also is to make sure that on every single day when I wake up going, oh my God, this is so tough. I can do that. And then I take Orla for a walk. I come back and go, I've got this, Angus. You may not have a pipeline fill up that day, but it's going to happen. That's an attitude. And also we can have the attitude sometimes that's not so healthy. So then it leads on to the last point. From all the stuff you've written down so far, what are some of those ingredients you're noticing that will lift and sustain you through your year? And you've already written down, I'm going to guess 10 things already. Yeah? You've learned about your motivation. You've looked at your previous performance of this year and what's got you there. This is around having that deepening understanding of, yeah, I know what's going to take me. So just by way of reviewing the preview, what are you aiming for? What's your goal? What's your target? What's your attitude towards the outlook for those conditions that you're playing in? How do you feel about it? And what are those specific things, those factors, those ingredients that you can feed into your recipe of success that's going to help lift, sustain, look after, love, joy, whatever. Please do that as an individual and then do it as a team. That conversation is gold. And so as we head closer to the end, I'm very mindful of 14 minutes left. I'll try and wrap up shortly for any questions. Let's make this really tactical for this week, shall we? Really tactical. Here's a lovely little to-do list. If you haven't written enough, here you go. There's a few more here. So for this week, and indeed if you're working right through to I spoke to a client yesterday. He said, you're finishing on Friday, I'm finishing on New Year's Eve. On Christmas Eve, I should say. So first and foremost, playing to your motivation. Stay connected with each other, please. Choose wisely. Those things we possibly wrote down in that column around what you have little control of or no control of, oh, actually, there's some gold in there, Angus. Yep, go for it. And hold your confidence cup gently. Or dare I say, put a bung in the bits that are draining. Even for just this week. Second point, slow the fuck down. Please, people. No matter what your clients say, or what your team say, no matter what your family says, find some rest. Find some rest. And this is not just this week. Christmas may be only once a year, but what I'm going to share with you, I want you to write down 7 words here. You ready for this? There are 7 types of rest. I'm going to give you these right now, because some of these you'll be doing really well right now. Some of you you'll be shit at. You ready? Number 1, physical. Physical rest. That can be both active, like meditating, or passive, like sleeping. Just passing out on the couch. So physical rest. Number 2, mental. Take some breaks. Calm your mind. Journaling, which is essentially what you're doing right now, right? You're just scribbling stuff down. Fabulous. That's mental. Number 3, sensory. Turn shit off. Our worlds are overloaded with technology and life and so forth. So just find some moments, even just to close your eyes. Go for a walk in nature. Sit looking the viaduct. Have a cuddle with your dog and just close your eyes. Number 4, social rest. Choose wisely with the energy givers in your world. Engage with those who give you a deep sense of connectedness. You've already wrote down those that fill your cup. You've already written down the connect. Maybe just picking up the phone and go, can I just have a conversation about how much I love you? How much I'm grateful to you? Maybe that is it. Maybe that's that social rest that you need and that connectedness. Fabulous. We then move into spiritual. For some of us, you might be religious on the call. You might be spiritual in other ways. It doesn't matter. Connect to a deeper meaningful for you. So engage in whatever those activities are. 2 more to go. Emotional rest. Emotional rest. What do I mean by that? Goes back to that confidence and certainly connectedness. Those you can express yourself freely by just letting your mind process. It could be a walk, it could be a gin and tonic, could be just being with someone, holding someone's hand and going, thank you. And finally, my creative folks, is creative rest. By switching off the mind is one thing, but please make time to turn everything off. However, out of those 6, especially of those I've given you, so your creativity reawakens the wonder of you. And last point on this slide is wind down, warm down. And you've got lots of stuff you've written down. So thank you for giving yourself the gift, because all that's going to do is help your readiness to perform when you come back in the new year. And least I remind you, there's never a finish line. We've done December before. We've done Christmas before. But I hope that there's a bunch of things you've written down that's going to help you feel a little bit more ready for Christmas, a little bit more ready to wind down in this final week. And also some lovely little ideas to go, yeah, he's right, actually. When I come back in the new year, I'm going to do such and such. And there's a litany of ideas there, such that your readiness to face those conditions you spoke of, or you've written down at least, I should say, you'll be there, you're prepared, and you're ready to go. So, last but not least, before I pass back to Nikki, and if there's any questions, please get your phones out. I did ask you to put them on silent, but please grab them now, because I've got a gift for you, another gift. Hey! First and foremost is take a screen, or take what am I doing? Camera, that's it, of that. It's a company that I partner with in the UK, the world's most accessible form of human performance. Take a shot of that, because it's a gift. Free to you of 3 months of access to what's called the performance room. There is, I think the technical term is shit tons of access of stuff to help support you, your team, set up the year into next quarter. Go treat yourself and have a look at that. So that's from me to you. Ho, ho, ho. And secondly, is if this is the first time you're meeting me, thank you. I really appreciate you jumping on board. If we haven't connected on LinkedIn, I would love to. So take a screenshot of, or take a photo of the next one. And I'd come join me on LinkedIn and see and come along the journey. I tend to do a lot of posting, not from Friday for 4 weeks. Yes. But yeah, I'd love you to connect. So I will, I'm going to pause there and finish as I started off, saying I'm incredibly proud to have been to be here and part of your week. The week and a bit to Christmas. I'm very grounded in my purpose to elicit something in yours. And most importantly, I'm very privileged to be part of business events industry Aotearoa as a member, and is to help support you through your countdown to Christmas. And I hope that what you've written down and you've reflected on, you can act on, genuinely help you wind down to wind back up healthier and happier. Merry Christmas, folks. Nikki, back to you.
Thank you so much, Angus. I'm sure everyone is the same as me and is looking at pages of notes here. Lots to take in. Hey, I'm sure, has anyone got questions or comments or feedback for Angus at all? Please feel free to speak up if you'd like to. Has anyone got anything they'd like to share? You don't have to share your notes.
Oh, that's good.
Which team member you need to speak to?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nikki, but just if you and I can have a chat
afterwards,
that'd be
Christmas.
great.
Yeah.
No, Angus, that piece on connectedness, it's the not them, it's you, the shared purpose, the mutual trust, the open challenge, openly challenging.
Yeah.
I've done my wee table. I won't tell, and it's okay, team. None of your initials are here. It's all good.
Yeah.
That to me was, I mean, everything was great, and I have written screeds and notes, but that to me was really gold, because there was something that I have been a little bit challenged with, and I haven't been able to really articulate it, but that's really helped
Oh,
me.
so please.
So thank you for that. I'm really taking that away. And the other piece around, every year we say the same thing. Crikey, that was a hell of a year.
Hmm.
And how on earth did we get through it? I sort of think back to 2021, because I think for most of us, we're suffering from PTSD over that one. And there were so many things that I wish I'd known back then at this time in 2021 that you've now just shared with me. So I feel so much better equipped going into 2025, I think is what I'm trying to say. So thank you,
Oh,
Santa
you're welcome.
Claus,
You're welcome.
for giving me that gift.
Yay! And you've given that gift to yourself, and the point you speak to, and thank you for reiterating that. And all the work that I do, one of the outcomes of what I aim for, right, is to give a currency of language which you can communicate, right? Because it's hard. Sometimes we dodge around, and not because we're trying to avoid a conversation necessarily. That can be the case as well, obviously, but it's part of that. But sometimes you're not quite sure how to approach it.
Mm.
The fabulous thing, Lisa, about understanding motivation is, I mean, we've all got those needs. They all exist at any point in time. But to be able to actually, do you know what? To use clean language about connectedness, or our connection is not where it needs to be, or I've noticed what I need to do, and I've noticed ... It brings it back to you and to self and to responsibility, but it opens up a whole beautiful conversation, right? Because someone's sitting there going, "Oh, I've got that too." Yeah, I know. And what do you feel about it? Actually, and that challenge word's interesting, because I remember that meeting happened. Well, I did that, and that didn't go so well, and I know I did blah, and then it just starts, right? And we're all human at our core. And what I love about your feedback, and I appreciate it, and I'm seeing some nods on the screen as well, and this is resonating, is use this. The gift of giving you this is so you can give that gift on, and that's the power of it. That's what fuels me. That's why I love what I do, because it cuts through the bullshit. It gives you something practical, but it's based in the art and science of we humans, and I love that. So thank you for reinforcing that.
Thanks, Angus.
Anybody else? Any other comments or?
No, I just had one comment right back to the beginning of your presentation, and I think it's something in our industry we probably we don't always do enough. And you mentioned, take time to recognize the achievements, because I think in our industry we're always looking forward, what's next, what's the next event, what's happening, what are we doing next, and we don't always just take that time to reflect on what we've actually done really well in the years. So I really, enjoyed seeing that. Thank you.
And then the wording was like, and how did you build those events, right? And we can all sit there and go, oh God, that didn't go wrong. That was yep, okay, park.
Yeah, let's look at the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's return some of that balance. Thank you, Nikki. Lovely.
Yeah, great. Does anyone else have any other comments or thoughts? Thanks for the chat messages that are coming through. That's fantastic. No. Everyone's good. Well, in that case, we might be your final week. But once again, huge thank you, Angus. That was just fabulous for the end of our year. And we've all got lots to take away to get us into next year. So we'll say farewell for now, everyone, and happy holidays. And we'll look forward to catching up in 25.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Stay safe.
Great Christmas. See you next year. See you in 2025. It's going to be great.
See you.